It's time for Tech Time with Timmy.
Hello, welcome to Tech Time with Timmy. In this episode, Timmy's going to be talking about the cool new Google Home app. So, the Google Home app is an app that Google's had for quite a while that can help you set up and control all your Google Home devices and all your Chromecast devices. And it's just recently received a really cool update. And so, if previously, unless you have either a Google Home or a Chromecast, you really wouldn't need or have any use for the Google Home app. But now with this new update, it can actually be useful if you don't have a Google Home or a Chromecast, if you only had maybe some Philips Hue lights or other smart home devices like that. So it can be really useful for that. So in this episode, Timmy's going to show you all about that. So you need to get your phone, and if you don't have the Google Home app installed already, you can really easily install it. And if it looks sort of like the old one and doesn't look new, then your phone must not have received the update yet. So just wait a little bit longer, and you should have the update. So this is what it looks like now, and it's really cool. So when you first come here, you've got Home, and so you've got these little options here. So if you held down on Lights Off, you'd have the option to turn off all lights, or just turn off living room, or turn off studio. So you'd have all the rooms that you have in your house would be here. So the Google Home app is now for controlling other smart home devices as well, not just a Google Home or a Chromecast. So that's really cool. And On is basically the same thing. And if you had other smart home devices other than lights and stuff, they'd all be here as well. There'd be different icons for controlling them, but Timmy only has the lights and Google Homes and switches. So, but if you tap play, you can play it on. You can start playing music on any of the speakers you have in your house. Broadcast a message. That's a feature Timmy's talked about previously. It hasn't always been in the Google Home app, but you've always been able to use the Google Assistant to broadcast messages. So if you want to know more about that, you can go back and watch a previous episode on that. And Add is a little button here, so you can set up a device. So tap here to add a device like a Philips Hue light or something like that, or here to set up a Chromecast or a Google Home device. So that's really cool. You can invite a member, so you could enter someone else's email address in here, and then they would then be able to control all the different controls for your home. So that's really cool. You can create a speaker group, which Timmy's talked about in previous episodes, or you can create a new home. Maybe if you have an office or a holiday house or something, and that has smart home devices in it as well. You could create one like that, and then you can manage the services from this menu as well. So, for example, music, you can choose which music provider you would like to be playing out of Google Home. So that's really cool. And you can also manage the videos and photos services. So if you tap on that, then you can see the Netflix and Stan and Google Photos. So that's all cool. So all these two features here have always been there, but they've been in different menus, different ways to access them. And then this button here is Settings. So you can select Home Members, Home Nickname, so you can name it, and linked media accounts, which is what we just looked at, and then you've got all the different rooms in your home, or you can delete this home at the bottom. So that's cool. And then as you scroll down here, there's all your devices grouped by room. So there's the family room, there's the kitchen home with the Google Home, there's living room with 4 devices in there. So, and then there's all the different rooms. So if you wanted to look at studio, maybe, with the studio lights, you can tap on that, and then you can really easily control the studio lights. They're off right now, so you can tap on that and they'll turn on, and then you can change the brightness of them. So that's really cool. Just to see here, here's the studio light, so that's really cool. And then you can turn them off again if you want. And if you tap on 2 lights, then you can control each individual light individually. So you can change the brightness and on and off for each different light. So that's really cool as well. And if you tap on a Google Home, you can see the volume. You'd see the playing information if it was playing music. You can tap up here and adjust the speaker sort of stuff. And then tap here and you've instantly got all the settings for that Google Home. So that's really cool as well. And then down here is the speaker groups. So speaker groups is something Timmy's talked about previously on Tech Time with Timmy, and if you want to know more about that, then you can watch a previous episode. So that's really cool there, and that's really all that's in this first section. There's no longer a bit you can pull off from the side now, it's all down the bottom. So if you see down here, you've got Discover. That's always been there. It's just sort of tips and things you might want to watch and different tips of what you could do with smart home devices. So that's really cool. And here is Browse. So this is showing you all the sort of stuff you could play on a Chromecast or a Chromecast Audio or a Google Home. So that's always been there, but it's really cool. And then over here you've got Account. So if you have multiple Google accounts, you can select them there. And you've got Home, Setup or Add, which is just like that other menu that was back in the first tab before. 9 local devices, so you can see all your local devices. So that's really cool. And then you've got Settings. So this is the Google Assistant settings. So even if you didn't have a Google Home, you could still use this to control the Google Assistant for your phone if you wanted. You'll see here all the Google Assistant devices. So that hasn't really changed much, that's still the same, but the way you get to it is different. And you can see My Activity, Account Preferences, Mirror Device if you've got an Android phone. So that's all really cool. And one last feature in the new Google Home app is this big Assistant button here. You tap on that and it just brings up the Google Assistant on your phone like normal. So that's really cool as well. So it's a really cool app and allows you to have a whole lot of home control. Not just controlling Google devices, but controlling your whole smart home really easily, and you get a full overview of what's happening with everything. So it's a really cool app, so even if you don't have Google Home or Chromecast, if you have other smart home devices, Timmy would still recommend getting this app now, because it's really cool and can help you control your smart home. So that's really cool, and that'll be the end of this episode of Tech Time with Timmy. Bye.